Thank you, everyone. As Tanya explained how to best share your data through good metadata practices, I'm hoping to share with you how you can best share your data through web mapping services. My expertise lies in the publishing of data through the Esri Arc server interface and mostly vector-based. So if somehow something raster or image server comes up and anybody else might have some expertise in that area, please feel free to speak up, as well as anything that might come up with model data. That's not where my area of expertise lies. So the objective today is to increase your understanding of web mapping services and the sharing of best management practices for doing so. And all of this should be centered around how you want your end user to see your data and how best to do that. So just running down what I'm going to be speaking about today, I'm going to give a brief little overview about some of the good data management practices you can use. Web services overview, how you can optimize web services, and getting into sharing and publishing and how best to do that. So within data management, and with sharing any data, you want to think about how you are managing your data as a whole. And you think about data management with all these things, from collection and creation and the different data formats you have, where you're going to store your data, how you're going to prepare your data for sharing, and where to share that data. So in publishing services, data for web services, I'm going to touch a bit about the data formats and storage and how to prepare the data and more of the sharing, and not so much about collection and creation of data today. So I provided some URLs, and there's also a document that is linked to from the agenda that goes through all the URLs that are found in this presentation for easy access. And these are the best URLs that we found to share with you regarding all the different types of vector data formats, all the different types of raster data formats. And for model data, the listings is kind of intertwined with the raster listings because most of the model data outputs are gridded in through four-dimensional formats. So you'll find threads and netCDS listed in there. So we also wanted to talk a bit about the data characteristics of vector and raster data and how temporally things can be static or dynamic. For instance, when most vector data is static, when you map something like the census or streets, it is a picture of that data in time. It does change over time, but once you have that snapshot created, it is what it is. For dynamic, it's more of the real-time data. For vector data, could be vehicle tracking. For raster data, your static data can be the aerial photos and the imagery that are captured in one moment in time. And radar data is more dynamic, something showing rain or temperatures. And then we also mentioned a bit about the model data and how it's time slices, depending on the time slices, can be dynamic or static. So getting into your storage formats, these are the basic types of storage that you'll want to store your data on. There's file-based, and just linking back to the Esri types for this, I have a few screenshots here. I don't know how best to show this, but within the directory listing up here, you can see that this shapefile is within this directory. It is a file within the directory. When you go to the directory-based format of storage, you can see how a file geodatabase creates its own directory of file listings. And then for the database connections, it's an SDE connection to, in this case, an SQL server in the back end. And there's lots of tables that you can connect to the data within this database to tell the user more about the data.